Hello and welcome to TalkFCB and welcome back here to the channel, guys. And of course, we are going to have more reaction following that emphatic victory at the Camp Nou last night. 3-0 against Liverpool. And in today's video, we are going to be looking at that game in much more detail, in a tactical mindset. How do we go about the game? Why did we play like we did? Why was it not the Barcelona that we were used to? But all the same, why was it so effective? It really was last night. We got the job done in a very handsome manner. It was a phenomenal result. We are going to be looking at what Valverde did, why he did it, and what we can expect from Barcelona moving forward. And the first thing that I want to say, guys, is yes, it wasn't vintage Barcelona yesterday, and people will try and throw that at us. Maybe our own fans will be happy at the way we played at times, but I think overall, when you sit back, when you look at the threat Liverpool posed, when you look at how much of a good team they are, 3-0 at home, that kind of result, you cannot turn your nose up to that. You can't say, I don't want to accept that. We will all gladly accept this result, and in turn, we will accept that performance, because what we saw out there was a different kind of Barcelona, and I have to say, it's not a complete surprise, because under Valverde, at times, we are more pragmatic, particularly in the big games. We do have a tendency to drop off, but we do really apply ourselves in the right areas, and when it comes off, it can be fantastic and so effective. And that's what we saw yesterday. Liverpool threw everything at us. They were very, very good. They created chances. They had a lot more of the ball, especially in the second half. But look, we were the ones in the final third who took our chances, created openings, and ultimately won the game handsomely. That's what we have to do. And in the Champions League, I will gladly accept that. The reason is, you can play fantastic football, you can play pure football, beautiful game, but at the end of it, you may not win the title. The last few seasons, we've been out in the quarterfinals, and we've had enough. We've had enough of doing that. Now, we want to get to the final, we want to win the Champions League. And for that reason, if we have to trade away just a few of our values in terms of the way we're going to play in 1 or 2 games, because we're not trading it all together, we're not getting rid of vintage Barca here. It's one game in a big moment that we've just changed our style of play to get through to the next round. At times, we still saw fantastic football, we still saw fantastic goals. In previous rounds, in previous games, we have still seen vintage Barcelona. But in this particular instance, against this very particular opponent in Liverpool, somebody who can press you high, full of energy, full of desire, full of hunger, and most importantly, we are playing here a team who can play on the front foot, home or away, they can hurt you with their front three. And Valverde turned around and thought, yes, I could go head to head with them, I could try and play them and try and play through them, which we did at times, but overall, we didn't commit ourselves. We never fully went forward to leave those gaps in behind. We never really allowed Liverpool's front three to really get in the game and really have space. We never allowed that. We were so deep, we were so compact, we were so organised, and we played against Liverpool the way we had to play if we wanted to get a result. That is all we wanted here. We wanted to beat Liverpool, get them out the way, get to the final. But against Liverpool, against such a high pressing side, against such an energetic side, and let's face it, a considerably younger side than what we were. The average age of the Barcelona team last night was 29. The average age was 29. We had several key players, Piqué, Busquets, Rakitic, Suarez, Messi, all over 30 years old, Arturo Vidal, players there that will run around, they will give their all, but they can't sustain that now, getting into the latter stage of their career. They cannot do that. It's literally impossible. So what you have to do, you've got to make allowances. If you drop off a bit, you don't have to run as far, you don't have to press as high, and certainly, we did that yesterday, and ultimately, we got the better of a very tough opponent. And so, let's get right into it now. The way the two teams lined up head to head, how they went up against each other, and most importantly, where those key battles were. And most importantly here, Ernesto Valverde opted not to go with Arthur in midfield, but instead to bring Vidal in into a 4, and Coutinho as well would tuck in, of course, when we didn't have the ball. And that was the big thing here. When we didn't have the ball yesterday, every single player got into shape. Every single player readjusted, and it was like on the training ground, they had been drilled time and time again. This is what you do. This is how you combat Liverpool. And every single time we got into a nice shape, nice and compact here, trying to shut down the spaces, and we were so deep that it didn't actually allow Liverpool any space at all in behind. Only once did we actually push forward, and then Mane got in behind, and it was put over the bar. A big chance there that went missing there for Liverpool, but other than that, we didn't allow them to really get these spaces in behind. We were nice and deep. At times we were narrow. I said, of course, we might go narrow and sort of allow them the wings. We did that. Robertson was happy to get forward, but also what I felt at times, and the really important thing with Barcelona is, we can sit back now, we can absorb absorb the pressure because we can rely on Piqué and Longley to get us out of danger. They will clear every single thing that goes into them. They will deal with that danger. But what we also did was just sort of allow Liverpool to get on top of us, just allow Liverpool to really come into our half. We were nice and deep here, and suddenly they were almost filled with a false sense of security because they were coming forward, they were having a lot of the ball, they were committing members, and suddenly their fullbacks were pushing on as well. They were getting forward, and then we win the ball back. And when we won that ball back, there was always a feeling that Barcelona here, we could break. And that's what we were allowing Liverpool to do. We were just allowing them to come onto us, allowing them to enter the game, false sense of security, and bang! As soon as we had that ball back, Liverpool then suddenly, there was spaces for Messi. Certainly in the first half, he had a number of dribbles. He was picking the ball up in a lot of space, and especially in the wider areas, especially here, down this left-hand side. And it was all about Gomez versus Jordi Alba, and Jordi Alba won that race every single time. And you look at it here, the midfield will come back, the midfield here will break out, they'll try and get back into shape. But Liverpool here, Jordi Alba was gone. He was never being caught down that left-hand side, because what Liverpool tried to do was, they also tried to play narrow. They were quite happy to allow us the wings. And I actually feel here like Jurgen Klopp significantly underestimated what Jordi Alba can do, because he was given so much room, time and time again, in this wider area. And I think Jurgen Klopp felt as though, well, he's only going to cross the ball in, and if he does that, Matip and Van Dijk, they can deal with Suarez. Messi's not going to be a threat in the air. That's all that's going to happen. But we all know that Alba is so much more than cross and hope. He will pick players out. He will pick out Suarez. He'll pick out Messi. And time again, down that left-hand side, Gomez was far too narrow. We were in every time, and we kept on finding him. And in the second half, of course, Nelson Semedo was brought on here in this right-back position, and then Coutinho went off, and it was actually Vidal who came out on the left-hand side, I think to help with Mo Salah, because when Alba went forward, then Salah at times having a bit more space. Longley, of course, was on a yellow card. He didn't want to keep coming out to him. So I think Vidal was then over on the left-hand side, just to marshal Salah, and also, of course, Mane when he was over here in the last few minutes. Vidal did absolutely brilliantly, but also Semedo down this right-hand side. It was almost to counteract the threat here of Andy Robertson, because he kept getting forward, supporting Mane almost on a 2-on-1 situation. And what we had then was a bit of cover. Roberto and Semedo together dealt much better with these two, and also then going the other way, we could allow Semedo to use that pace and actually exploit the space that was left behind there by Robertson, and he very nearly got in. It was really close, and obviously Roberto was massively key in the second goal, because I think also when Roberto then was in that midfield area, when he was making these bursting runs, you know that he's got that pace, you know that he likes to break with the ball, and I think at times actually Liverpool couldn't really pick him up. He sort of went unmarked, he went into the box, of course, it fell to him, and then he was able to square it to Suarez, and that was there, our second goal in a nutshell. But I just want to say here, guys, obviously we played very deep. Yes, we defended in the second half. Liverpool had so much of the ball, but how many big chances, clear-cut chances, do you remember them creating yesterday? Because obviously they played well. Obviously Liverpool fans are going to say they deserved a lot more, but apart from that Milner chance which came in the box, how many chances did they get here one-on-one? Never ever. Salah, Mane, when did it happen? When did they get seriously in on goal without anybody around them and a clear-cut opportunity? They didn't. Simple reason for that is we got players back time and time again. We got bodies back. We marked players. Longley and Piqué were absolutely superb. They were always marshalling their players in the area. They were always picking up their men. And I think defensively, we were superb. And it's always said, isn't it? Attackers, strikers, they score goals, they win games. But defences win titles. This season, under Valverde, yes, we want to see the traditional Barcelona way. And to be fair, in many games this season, we have seen brilliant football. But in this game, against this opponent, with this high-intensity play, Liverpool, a younger team, a fresher team, they were able there to really go for us. But we withstood that. We let them onto us. And when we could, boy, did we break. Messi was picking the ball up. And that's what I felt also. Whenever we got the ball here in this midfield, whenever it broke to Busquets, and that's why I think maybe at some stage, if Arthur had been used, maybe we would have cut through them a few more times. Busquets was getting the ball, Rakitic as well. And I think when we played through this midfield, as soon as we got through that midfield with Messi here and into these areas, we had so much space. Every time here, we went into the Liverpool half, we were between the lines, I felt like something would happen. I felt like we could create chance after chance after chance, and I still believe that we created yesterday more clear-cut chances, more big opportunities than Liverpool did, no question about it. And certainly in those areas, we were very good. But it all starts with the defence. It all starts with these foundations, that organisation, every single player understanding their role, understanding the team as a whole, and the structure that we need to entail to beat Liverpool. And we did that. We carried out those orders. We did it. The only one thing that I would say is, would Dembele have made a significant difference in this game had he been introduced earlier? And I think, to be honest, the second goal really altered Valverde's thinking. I think if it had stayed at 1-0 for a bit longer, we would have seen Dembele, simply because Liverpool here was so high. And I mentioned this before the game. They were able really to pen us in, simply because there wasn't really anybody who could get in behind and cause them a big threat with pace. Suarez is not quick enough to do that. Messi was too deep at times to do that. And Sergio Roberto tried, but nobody really with a cutting edge that Dembele has was on the pitch to really make that difference. And I think if it had stayed at 1-0, Valverde certainly would have introduced Dembele. Maybe we would have had a different sort of outlet there and somebody who's able to get in. And of course, when he came on, we saw him get those chances. We saw what he could do. And I'll tell you this now, you think about Anfield, you think about the situation that Liverpool are in. They're going to have to come forward now. They've got to really go for it. They've got to throw the kitchen sink to try and get back in this game. You think about all that space. You think about all the risks they're going to be taking. I am telling you now, you will not see another Roma. We will not throw this away. We will see it through to the very end. This group of players who gave everything yesterday, who put everything on the line, who never stopped until the final second, they will not be thinking about the final yet. They'll be thinking about that second leg, and they will not let their guard drop until we're officially there after the final whistle in that second leg. Trust me, we will not let this slip. So I think overall, guys, Valverde in this game did what he had to do. And I think, to be honest, that's been a massive strength of Ernesto Valverde since he came into the club. In the big games, we find a way to get the job done. We find the solutions against specific opponents. Every game is different. You don't need to play the same week in, week out, because teams will know that. Teams will get wise to it. They'll find a way, and they'll hurt you. And certainly in this game, Liverpool did not see our game plan coming. Jurgen Klopp would not have anticipated that from Barcelona. We surprised them in some areas. We led them onto us. We made them believe they could win, and boy, down the other end did we give them an absolute thunder wave. Lionel Messi at the very heart of it, of course. That is my thoughts on what was a historic night at the Camp Nou. It wasn't vintage Barca, there is no denying that, but at the same time, did it really need to be in this particular game? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, guys. I'm going to be celebrating this victory no matter what, and I'm absolutely sure you guys are going to be doing the same. Thank you so much for all the support. Thank you for these celebrations. Boy, did this team deserve it. What a game! What a night. I'll see you soon, guys, with, of course, tomorrow coming up the match preview between Barcelona and CELTA Vigo, back in La Liga action, where we're expected to rest the majority of those players who played yesterday. We're going to be fully fresh, ready, and fighting in that second leg. I'll see you then, guys. But until next time, as always, Visca el Barça.